What is up, motherfuckers? West Shrimp Po Boy coming at you. I can't do the controller this time. I'm waiting for another one to come in. Right now, I'm going keyboard. The first attempt at recording this, I had the window capture, but it did not capture the game itself, as you see here now. I had to go back from an earlier point than this last week and get back to where I'm at now. I just got through killing the Mothula creature, the parody of Mothra, and I also got through. And I also had gotten an upgrade by visiting the Mad Batter, and so on and so forth. So, and I just got all the updates on my bow and arrow and ammo, my arrows and my bombs again before getting this up. So I'm going to be slightly ahead than I was last time because I had to catch up. So, I did not get the tempered sword like I got in the link up here, but I'm also missing some heart pieces up there. I'm gonna have to backtrack through that game file. But as you can see here, I'm not gonna have that problem here because we're doing this Longplay series. I have the heart pieces guide and everything with it. Okay, I'm gonna have some honorable mentions. I got text. I was texting my boy, or our boy, all of us. We all love the guy, Capitalist Pig. And let me just close that YouTube video. I don't know why. I hate these phones. I hate them. But everybody's using them, which aggravates me so. I'm like, can't we have a flip phone? Talk, text, get rid of the fucking computer shit. Half-assed computer tablets. No, they don't want to do that. They want to push on you what they want to sell. You just have to either have one of these or do without. And it's kind of a bitch to do without. Getting increasingly so. It shouldn't have to be. It should be actually a free market. But fat cats are a government spook. If you read corporate law like I have, you find this out. Anyway, we're going to talk about ways to spread liberty around and help people and so on and so forth, right? And these are the ideas we're going to spread around and how to achieve that. So, without further ado, I'm here tonight with Techno and Julian. I was going to try to get Executioner on and Capitalist Pig on, but I guess they're tied up. They have some other things happening. But I'm going to give honorable mentions of their ideas that they had to contribute to this discussion. Some of this shit, the idea came actually from Executioner. Hit me up on the phone, called me up on the phone. I was already talking in a private VC with Techno, and we talked about different ideas and what we could do to help, to spread for our cause and what could be done, right? Well, but to say the least, I had the idea, hey, let's do a podcast episode if you guys can join and talk about that stuff. And we all agreed to it. Julian also has some pretty damn good ideas too, because please tell him what you're going into. Please tell him. Sorry, repeat that one more time, please.
Currently, I'm trying to get my degree, which is in criminal justice and specialization of homeland security, and then I am going to a dog handling course after I get my degree.
And what's your long-term plan with this training?
I mean, it's really flexibility. If I want to work for the government, I can. If I want to work private, I also can.
And your privy is which one?
I mean, it honestly depends. If it's still going to ship back to it, I'll probably just do private. To be honest, I wouldn't be against doing the reserves, but fuck being in the army and its shit stack of issues.
So you're trying to go for the PMC route?
It would be like, yeah, kind of. I mean, basically, yeah, it's security.
So you're going to try to do nation and domestic security is what you're going to do ideally.
Basically, yeah.
All right. Would you tell them some of your educational background too, Techno, and the way you learn, not just your main stuff, but how you come to know what you know now?
I have a college diploma in computer science, and a lot of what I know regarding computer science is self-taught. A lot of what I know about economics is self-taught. And I take great interest in economics and philosophy on the side.
There's economics and philosophy is self-taught on my end as well. Julian tends to pick up from what others show him on his own quite proficiently, which is a good thing, but Techno and I and others have introduced Julian to different things over time, and it helped him mold himself to where he's at now.
Yeah. Only few things I think I carried over from my experience, or at least knowledge of growing up around certain topics, but a lot of stuff I did learn from them and tidbits of other stuff.
Now, there's another one. I've been reading from opposing views on economics and political philosophy, actually. I did learn from their works, and I found kindred spirits in an author and activist known as Bill Kaufman. Since I'm a paleo-conservative, paleo-libertarian as well, or paleo-conservatarian, and so is he, I'm not as far into. I'm a panarchist, not an anarchist, which is different. But one can lead to the other pretty easily, if need be. It's one of the well over a dozen ways of managing against, statism, like preventing or minimizing the impact of forming statism or preventing it. So he's he's pretty much a full-blown distributist leaning ANCAP essentially.
The main thing about states when it comes to the topic of liberty is while they aren't to be blindly trusted in anything, at the same time, the only reason why you always seem to go full on, I'm always has a lot to do with the fact that you have other governments that exist that will take the opportunity for an society to exist to basically begin taking precedence from our
You'll have a Brehon 2.0, a Gaelic Ireland 2.0, or a Native American North California Societies Network at 2.0.
Yeah. Inland America would be fun as a independent area, but if you're on the coast, like what be it by Mexico, southern, north, east and west, basically those would be the areas that would get chopped up in colonization.
Statism is ultimately on a scale.
Yes, very much so.
Fascism and communism being the worst of the worst, and liberalism being significantly more acceptable until you hit, well, either a republic or a panarchy or an anarchy.
You
But it's not the black and white garbage that some agorists push.
Yeah.
I got I'm gonna make a whole independent podcast reviewing and ball busting the shit out of Peter Quinones, I believe. Quinones, on his take on Hopla, and I'm gonna debunk a couple of areas. Everything else he did was okay, but there's some areas I've got to bust his balls on. I remember back when he was still a minarchist, you busted his balls hard. You all went after him hard about some things. God, I remember. Peter Quinones was a Mance Raider, by the way, Julian.
Oh yeah, I went hard after him. He just has his bias and lack of tactfulness will beat his own time game.
Basically. Yeah. Okay, Panther. Come on, buddy. Leave that alone. No, you little shit! No! Sorry, folks.
I think that's
No, sir. He wants to play with my earphones. No, bad boy. I love you, but you gotta get the fuck down, son.
I think that's kind of a sad thing too.
Look, you're junky. Let me get this put back in. He wants to sit in my lap, but he was wanting to fuck with these earbuds. That's all I got, and I ain't having that. You know. He'll lay himself up against my shoulder, wrap his forelegs around my neck like he's hugging on me and shit. Anyway.
But yeah, I think that's kind of like the downside to some because even if you were to real knowledge is that you kind of go too off.
Well,
I think that a prime example would be Black Moon, which is no disrespect intended, but if you're like operate like he would, just like Mance Raymond in an actual handicap world, you're not going to score.
Okay.
You have to be cunning.
I'm of the mind not all cops are bastards, but simultaneously not all cops are angels.
Pretty much, same thing for the military. You're gonna have to feel that thing. Even if you disagree with them, they aren't gonna try to get you down, but there will be some that'll try to stick their cock up in the past.
Guys, so you want to talk about tactics about how to spread liberty and how to make it more attainable?
Usually, for liberty, I find you want to first promote the idea and change society by making people. First, you try to befriend who you can and spread the ideas, because honestly, if you don't have the backing of society, it doesn't matter how much you try to change the government by force, because society will do their own actions. Like majority is minority. So you can get the majority of people to accept a certain sociological belief. That's usually the first start. It's ideological subversion. Good.
Oh. Yeah. Executioner actually talked about different methods, especially, and you've confirmed me on this though.
It makes sense, because agorism can't really... like, for agorists, sure, you're living a principled life, but you're shooting yourself in the face to shoot the government in the foot. And what you're planning to accomplish with that, I don't know.
They screech at you for saying that. In a fucking heartbeat, but...
Well, I'm not going to apologize, it's true.
Oh yeah, you gotta use agorism to quietly, keyword being quietly, co-fund local political movements. No, now, folks, I'm not advocating this since my name's already out there so openly. You got to realize I could get in some trouble if I advocate this shit, so I'm not. But if you're going to use it, it has to be a method of strengthening a localized political movement, supporting, shrinking, and decentralizing whatever powers that are holding you down or fucking with you now.
And the thing is, what agorists don't consider is that you could do, say, partial agorism, where you could basically maybe not subvert your federal government, because, well, they will beat you down with the force of the entire military. But if you can get enough people in, say, a county or a state just not paying state income tax or something like that, well, what's the state going to do about it?
They have to kick the community out, and then they have to defend for themselves, and then that makes the state weaker, the central government weaker.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about a state in terms of, like, say, Washington or California or Oregon, not in terms of United States of America size.
Oh, I know. Well, yeah, there's not much they can do about it. They could try, but all that's going to do is put them in a corner.
And the thing is, it would be even more effective if individual states were to secede, of which is also something that some agorists, I'm not going to name which, very pale rodent, cartoon snake, excuse me, I must have had something in my throat. But yeah, that don't consider that it might actually just be easier to take down a smaller jurisdiction than a bigger jurisdiction.
Yeah. But also at the same time, you gotta be very careful about which states do it, because some states do not have the infrastructure to be independent for long. In a theoretical life scenario.
Oh, fuck. Go,
I think that's also kind of the agorist's downfall, is that if they aren't careful with what states they actually choose, based on how that state is set up, it could quite fast.
They can bite the pillow or you know, get nay-nayed.
Yeah, basically.
And also, typically, the more authoritarian a state is, the faster it will be to implode upon itself. So, say, California or Oregon or Washington would fall faster individually to agorism than, say, Texas. Because because Texas simply runs a leaner operation. But it's still just on its own more pleasant to live in than any of those three states anyways. So.
Which is funny. What's funny is Oregon's got 5 counties in them, and there's growing numbers of vote to secede from the federal government already. It's quite fucking comedic.
Oh, no, it's not the federal government. They want to create Greater Idaho.
Yeah. The counties want to split off into interstate boundaries. Values more, which makes more sense to break off the federal government. Federal government break offs done when tensions are really high. This is done through a democratic process where counties want to run other states.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you want my opinion, just turn the United States into 50 separate countries and have it over with.
I mean, also, I have to say this. Texas is a great example of why I think they'll almost always have a anarchist government, and this has a lot to do with the cartel. Right? Like southern states have an actual decent police force that can be made into more work of militia rather than into a federal military and work of police, like how some of the Eastern European nations did. they will pretty much always exist. I know certain anarchists and stuff aren't really in Japan, but when you're dealing with narco-terrorists, even in an anti you're going to have some governments created because that's just a threat that requires so much dedication.
See, this is why Hoppa's model tends to be probably your best bet when it comes to anarchistic stuff, but I do think a minimal government can be useful still. It's just, it cannot be a statist one because...
Yeah, obviously, like...
For obvious fucking reasons.
Yeah, evidently. It's just like this would be more anarchist as Hoppian just for the sake of actually having a defense against common threat. For example.
Well, heck, Texas has its own military. If it wants to secede, it has everything it needs.
Well, there are some loops and holes that it's got to go through, but it does have its... It also has its own legal clause, too. But it does have some hurdles to go through.
I think the best example of what could become a federal force if we became independent Texas Rangers because we have a specialization in this. Yeah, I think that's kind of like another thing too when it comes to the United States is that we gotta look at enemies like, let's say if it's not foreign as in like big government, like let's say China, if it's like right next door. Yeah, cartels are precious motherfuckers. They don't think that. Okay, if you are weak, they will take them to season.
I still find it amazing how there's like one little part of Mexico that actively says no police, and they have basically lived in peace for however long.
Yeah, they were smart. See, there's something about Mexico is that even if you would get a good police force for a time, let's say you wipe out the department and you feel the dude are actually loyal to the people, they quickly get killed. Which is the sad part. So it's up to the citizens really to.
Well, see, Zapatista tends to hold off the military and other forces and cops over at Mexico pretty nicely. And they're pretty self-sufficient in that regard too, but they're Hoppian enough to keep out undesirables. But they have a lot of left anarchy traits too, but they're also capitalistic in profit margins and stuff. Like, it's cool. It's a little bit of everything. In the most unique ways. Now, they claim to be anti-capitalistic, but that's largely rhetoric when it comes to their economic practice.
Honestly, I think they say it just have not get smeared by media. And they're kind of like more so like what economics call a mixed economy, which is like a mix of ideals. Their mixed economy is like more beneficial than crappy.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of people get like that's like there's a reason why we say mixed economy, we don't say state capitalism, we don't say X, Y, Z. Mixed economy has always been its own thing, a very exact reason.
Now, this dungeon number 4 is the shortest fucking one in the goddamn game. Dungeon 4, where you fight Blind the Thief. It's infuriatingly short. Okay, what kind of policies did you advocate on local level? You talked about banking and stuff. And
Wait.
when it comes to this stuff, you talked about issues about banking and such. When we had exchanges about that the last time we recorded this attempt.
Like, actually privatize the money, as in, say, for instance, use stocks instead of fiat, or use assets that individual banks have as commodities to back a paper money, and people will just use whatever money they prefer best. Mind you, all subject to instability, but guess what? The US dollar is unstable against Bitcoin, just as Bitcoin is unstable against the US dollar, so it really doesn't matter. Both ideas are fungible because one is literally just paper money. It's easily recognizable, and the other is a stock. So essentially as good as gold. They are both portable because stocks used to be literal sheets of paper saying that they represented however many stocks of a specific company, so they were basically 99% of the way to money anyways. As with just paper representative currency as well, that also is very portable. And what are some of the other issues? They're both durable, as they are literal sheets of paper, and if they start showing wear, you could either exchange them for new pieces of currency, or you could use, say, what we have here in Canada, plastic sheets of what are essentially quote-unquote paper. So that solves their durability problem, and that basically solves the vast majority of the major problems with money. I honestly prefer the private banks being able to issue their own money with backed by their own assets.
Now, little girl, you better stop that. No. Sorry, I got a kitten up here trying to get on my desk.
I understand. It's an intervention.
No.
But yeah, the thing about preferring banks issuing their own money off their own assets makes more sense because it gives banks tools to make corrections. Like, say, if the bank is out of money because the money is overvalued, and people are still taking loans out on that bank because the money is just so good, they have to have these I don't know, Big Apple bucks because Big Apple Bank has such a great currency. What they could do is print more of it to stem the demand, and in the case that people don't want their money anymore for some reason, they could just stow it away and use it for later. But stocks work too as a more decentralized version. The issue with those is you typically see them only with stock exchanges, but you can do private equity deals outside of stock exchanges as well. So realistically, that is a nice and private and decentralized way of doing things.
We should have... I'm sorry, go ahead. You finish and then let me know when you... Because I think...
And the reason why I'm focusing an awful lot about money is because any money that is not the government's is money that the government doesn't necessarily track. So long as you're not playing their game, you don't play by their rules. And that's essentially my piece. Us?
Yeah. Thank you for the input. Give me a sec. I'm fighting Blind the Thief now. He used to work for Ganondorf Dragomeyer in the short before the Sealing War. When he killed after, the Hero of Time died. This is the universe where that happened, They've been plotting this shit since 2005. They've just been adding on to it with each game, which is cool. Anyway, I'll get back to you guys. I got some. Fuck! I died.
But anyways, thoughts on private money?
Well, I was gonna interject and say, I thought I'd wait to finish. This could potentially work for certain reasons. For instance, You could make this work through building societies and financial guilds and mutual credit banks if you FDIC certify them. And if you did a backdoor service through an honor system, you could loophole the laws potentially. It just requires those being built and they actually show some balls.
Of course, the only law that they would be in violation of is legal tender, but this is the entire reason why this is being why this idea is being thrown around, because legal tender sucks.
Yeah, and it's gonna have to happen at some point anyway. This is just things I'm using to look at from a distributist perspective, applying their work on a Rothbardian framework. That's what I'm doing here. If you wanted to work on decentralization across the board, you know, if you localized the feedlot systems and made them regenerative, you know, y'all know I did the 2 videos on conventional feedlotting, conventional feedlot farming, how that can be fixed. Well, the legal, you gotta learn the laws to learn how to. I'm not trying to say you got to, but it would help. But I'm not advocating. I'm just saying from a technical standpoint. No way am I, you know. I'm not putting myself in trouble with this, but I'm just technically saying.
And speaking of farming, for the conspiracy nuts that think that that something's going on with the subsidies for farmers to keep fields fallow, I'm sorry to say, but there is no conspiracy behind that. There is actually a practice called crop rotation, practiced by medieval farmers, and the idea of keeping your field fallow once every 4 years is actually a very valid practice meant to regenerate the field.
Well, not only that, right? Not only that, but excuse me, long day. There's an interesting technique about farming I learned from my uncle. I'm going to share it with all of you tonight. If you get to where you want to strip till, just get mulch and straw. Not just mulch, but also straw and hay. And lay it all across. All along there, and you just till up the, and you essentially till up the strips you want to plant in. With strip tilling, what's going to happen is you're going to lessen your need for, well, quite obviously, you're going to lessen your need for using herbicides, because there's not going to be no weeds growing when you got enough straw there. And you know how much fucking pasture land that's not being used you could go mow into to get that from? That animals are not making use of to make food for us? That's a shit ton. There's a shit ton of gains from this. Just saying, fuckers. Just fucking saying. And I jumped ahead anyway when I was trying to fight blind. I forgot to go. I can't believe I fucking forgot this! As soon as I get the damn Titan's mitts, which is the successor of the power gauntlet, I'm gonna come back to the cemetery at Hyrule. Once I've done this, I'm going straight to, I'm going to come back to there. I think it's the magic cape, I believe. I got some other pieces of heart and other goodies to acquire from getting that particular trinket, that particular piece of clothing. While I don't agree with the presuppositions to distributists and including the anarchist Dorothy Day and others such as and the and G.K. Chesterton and his brother. But I will say these things. The building societies and the mutual credit unions and guilds. Here's another one I like. I'm going to read from it, actually. I found a PDF copy of the book. I want to get the physical copy because it's cool. And certain ideas in it can be worked in a Rothbardian framework. Give me a second, I'll pull it up, actually, because I want to share this with you guys. Minimize that. For instance, when it comes to helping spread liberty, if you could do what Executioner talked about and take the, oh shit, let me see. If you could take, decommission, and by that I mean de-weaponize military vehicles for humanitarian causes and sent them out to fund mutual aid, healthcare for all unions, and medical guilds for the local communities near you. That would absolutely be a great fucking asset to help with this, and also minimize costs over time. Best you can, of course.
Whatever you do, just don't use the sunflower seeds as money.
No, don't. That's retarded. Only a
I'm never going to look down.
No, they ain't. But that's what that's something a tweaker brain would think of anyway. Don't take kids. Don't overdo shrooms or don't do substances like that unless you. And even if you're an adult, I would not advise it. If anything, it's okay. I don't care if you smoke pot. That's the least you can do to yourself. Let's see, where the fuck is that? And you know what's, and the reason I bring up the medical guild is it does have a lot of cool features. For instance, well, I'll just read off the a couple of the pages from it, or for mentioning it and talking about it. It is not enough, however, to address supply and demand problems. All social goods, medical services included, are delivered by institutions. Restructure and control these institutions will dictate the outcomes. If our social institutions are organized solely around the profit motive, which there's nothing wrong with that, I would say. I strongly argue, because I don't follow the presuppositions these guys, the author of this book I'm reading from does. Profit is the only measure. Well, you have to rely on profit signals as a baseline, folks. How it works. Profit has two meanings. It's actually got two implications. Minimize loss and gain what you can by providing goods and services. That's the idea. That's what it fucking means, folks. Don't go into silly hyperbole. It doesn't work too well in the long run. But that being said, I'm continuing. Let's see. People who are only concerned with supply and demand are usually baffled by how easily mechanism breaks down and monopoly and oligopoly take control. Well, they conflate capitalism and corporate plutocracy as one and the same. And if you learn anything from mainstream economics, it's not true. One useful thing I learned from it: they're not the same. One requires a status to a government system, and the other doesn't. Anyway, there's a remedy for that. Get rid of the corporation systems. Get rid of the power for governments to create such a thing. But anyways, continuing. But the answer is not surprising. Let's see. This is not to say that there's anything wrong with profit motive per se. Well, see, they're glossing over the problem, but they're not denying that profits are fine. I mean, they're not saying profits are fine. Are not okay. They're glossing over a lot of that's one problem with this book. Anyway, let me continue. Indeed, without making a profit, no firm or institution can be sure that it is delivering a useful product correctly, and correctly allocating, gathering and whatnot resources. That's what allocate is. Gather, bring together, find out, etc., etc. That's what allocation means in this case. I believe in the answer lies in a well-tested institution from our past. The institution is the guild. The guilds were associations of institutions. Sorry, I'm doing this too. I can only do a couple things at once. At the moment, anyway. The institution is a guild. The guilds were associations of training for the training of their members and the quality and practice of their products and services. They were the sole judges of qualifications of their members, and they had the power to set both standards and prices. What I propose is that we allow medical professionals to form guilds with the power to grant various licenses. Well, there's a lot of licensing bureaus that would be pissed off, and Kyle Kalinski's favorites would go down the tube, wouldn't they? That's another way to replace the FDA. Something more effective. But these medical guilds have got to follow staunch science. Say like Mr. Harry Serpanos or Doc Bart Kay, for instance, actually teach people. You might ask, why would one doctor stand surety for another? In fact, this is what already happens in malpractice insurance. They ain't lying here. Ooh. Hey! Fucking quit, everybody! Damn! Goddamn! Hold on a fucking minute. You little shits! Move it now.
At least guilds wouldn't have quite so much
this is going
political
so well
power
too.
as unions do now.
Move it! I didn't steam clean this motherfucker. Y'all don't help none. Hold on, I'm still drying this shit. Y'all are being terrible tonight. Who wants to water bottle tonight? Who wants to did that in the face? No. Let me read the rest of this about the medical guild before while I'm cleaning this fucking mess up these cats made. If the losses go up for one doctor, the rates for every other doctor in that insurance pool go up. But doctors have no control over who is in their insurance pool. The quack and incompetent get thrown in the same insurance system, with the latter required to pay for the former. In other words, the competent paying for the quack. In a guild system, the guild would have a strong incentive to ensure the competence of their fucking members and monitor the practice standards. They would warn to weed out the incompetent or downgrade their licenses. The guild would purchase insurance for all its members, or even provide insurance itself. In the medical guild system, thereby regulating and voluntarily guiding I would say, more accurately, the profit motives, taking away, helping decorporatize it, and lowering the cost. I'm ad-libbing certain things here because I'm bypassing some of this anti-capitalist rhetoric. The Guild of St. Luke, for example, might favor one approach to medicine. The Galen Guild might favor another. The natural competition. Oh, no. No! Get out of that. God, they're being terrible tonight. Might favor another. The natural competition. Whoops! Watch out, Lily! I'm trying to walk. Sorry. Damn. I need to quit. Right off. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Damn. Stop pissing me off so damn bad. God damn. Sorry about that, guys. Had an absolute fucking catastrophic fuck mess down here below my feet. I'll have to sit. Continuing on with the piece best I can. While it might be difficult for the public to judge one doctor against another, it would be easier to judge the performance of one guild versus another. Further, this provides a space for alternatives medicine practice as well. The author said, I have no way to judge whether such things such as acupuncture or Chinese herbalism are medically valid. I would argue that certain extract concentrate formulations in blends can be very valid as a supplement for certain drugs or clinical trials that were done that showed efficacy for certain diseases, and there's more trials being done. It's just not talked about. And when it comes to acupuncture, no. Electroacupuncture can lessen muscle and nerve tension through AC current going through the acupuncture needles and control certain pressure points and causing them to relax. But that's all they really have when it comes to evidence. And I actually have access to the book about electroacupuncture. I found a free version from the webs, so I can answer for this. Not very much of the acupuncture. Chinese herbalism has pharmacological potential in a lot of areas, but it requires a pharmacognosy approach, which is not talked about enough in the States. But it is everywhere else, like in Europe and other places where they're actual that don't have an equivalent to an FDA. So there's that. Another instance of the FDA being the total butt-fuck disaster. And everybody saying otherwise a blatant liar and a fraud. Anyway. But when joined in a guild, required to stand surety for each of their members, practices which do have value will likely thrive, even if conventional medicine does not yet recognize it as of yet recognize their value. And if they have no value, it's likely that such practices will disappear because the insurance claims would bankrupt them pretty quickly. Likely the government would still have some minimal role to prevent outright quackery if need be, which I say it wouldn't. For example, well, they would not likely allow, for instance, a guild of peach pit cure-alls. Ooh! Throwing some fucking daggers at the, throwing some daggers at, Kent Hove and, Laetrile peddlers. Yikes! I like that, though. It was smart. It's subtle, but it was smart. It's a good reference to the quacks that have been still being around.
Guilds are basically something like a solution to collective bargaining without unions.
You can have mutual. I think when it comes to medicine, I think the union forms would be mutual aid. That's just me, though.
Well, at least regarding home doctors or family doctors, I'd like to cite a video that Reason TV had made almost 3 months ago about the clinic that is funded through a subscription fee.
Sounds
Brilliant
like
video.
Sounds like all right. Yeah, we will have it in the description below. I will have that in the description below. I will also, but yeah, you can have the unions in question would be mutual aid. Neil Chicago is wondering if he can join. What do you guys say? Do you want to bring somebody in?
Right on ahead.
Alright, would somebody do that? I'm gaming. I'm gaming and reading the shit in the foreground. But yeah, this is just a couple of pages of excerpts I was trying to read before that fuckery happened, but just shortly ago. When it comes to one area about medicine, medical practices. There we go. Finally got to it. There we are. Ha ha ha, bitch! Titan's mid, bitch! Yeah! Alright. Let me get the fuck out of there. I'm now going to... I'm not gonna go out of the dungeon and go grab a couple things.
I'm gonna go for my ride.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you too, Julian. But yeah, you could, before you go, is it true what Executioner said about the military vehicles for humanitarian purposes?
Yes, it's true. It's been a thing for a long time.
Okay, cool. You could do that to fund different places inside the country and other countries for humanitarian purposes to spread liberty.
Yeah,
And convince
all you have to do is just re-outfit some things and maybe update some tech button. That's perfectly good to go.
Now, thank you for that.
Cool.
So yeah, that was interesting. So, Techno, could you bring in Neil, please?
He is already in.
Alright, Neil, can he speak? Let me bring you up. I had to, when I didn't have my earbuds in, I had to turn everybody down a lot.
No, it's all good. I need it.
It's going well here.
We're talking about ways to spread liberty in a practical manner, and I'm advocating for like spreading certain ideas, like political like localized political action, different forms of charity activism and humanitarian purposes. You can use, if you want it to be risky. I'm not saying to do it. You could use you could use certain algorithm to quietly co-fund different projects. Because by itself, agorism can't do it all. It can't, by its nature.
Right.
I just got to explaining before. Cats below my feet just spilled a bunch of shit everywhere on the desk, under my desk.
Yeah.
About how to make for medical guilds. Now, unions would still be a thing. It'd be a mutual aid, I would imagine. Guilds are still very nice. And I wanted to quote, when it comes to different guilds and different structures, I wanted to quote a guy who I first heard of Hoppa, but I didn't get into his work until a more recent couple years. I want to quote him. He said, maybe this is a bit of sophistry on my part, maybe not. This is DMs back in January 31st, 2018, so...
Alright.
This is before I, Anyways, he said this might be a little bit of sophistry on my part, but my main argument is that unions are populated by workers demanding wages and working conditions from their employers. It is inherently flawed that they exist to influence private practice at homogenation across the social order. They inhabit the form of organizing and lobbying who they need, the corporation or the local authority. They simply put, they are obsolete and would get in the way of a private law society. Yeah, he was really hard into Hoppist when he said this shit, but we'll get into
I'm not a big fan of it. I've worked for 23 years. I was a mechanic in Chicago. And, freight insurance, protection, pretty good, pay raise, fair, not really like it. Vacation time was ridiculous. I had 3 months off. It was ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. I mean, the whole fucking thing could have collapsed in 5 years. The unions really are good and bad, and it depends on where the location is. It depends on what company you're working for and how much wealth they have to spread to their employers.
It also depends on the foundation of the union as well as the what the union's built around. And so, see, that's why I'm for a mutual aid system instead of what they type of union instead of what they tend to do.
Right.
It's a lot more reasonable, and they lasted. They were so successful at providing healthcare and insurance and stuff for working people,
right,
and for families, and maintaining social cohesion, helping with that.
Yeah.
That the only reason they phased out by the time of 1967 was because of political propagandists, leftists, and so-called right-wingers, quote unquote. Dude, I'm more right-wing than any of them cunts.
you got to explain a little more about that. I know what you're getting at, but
Well, I'll tell you. Basically, they were trying to make a universal mandatory health insurance like Medicare and Medicaid as far back as 1915. The reason they couldn't do it, everybody of all skin colors were using the mutual aid fraternities and mutual aid unions, and they were cheaper and they ensured that they actually got what they had in them. Well, they started different politicians and media types at the time. There we go, Magic Cape, bitches. Basically peddled that, oh, this is white supremacists and all that bullshit. You know, like the left are doing nowadays. And that caused, and they duped the young people bad.
yes,
And that's what caused them. And that's what happened. And that's what a lot they phased out in '67. They were so effective. The government had to basically pull the Fabian Society tactics like a motherfucker. And they were only brand new, and permeation theory was only just being proven. And that's what happened. I have the whole book by David Beto. I think it's his name. Pardon if it's a mispronunciation.
David?
Huh?
David?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, when it comes to this, when it comes to I had a couple of different charges down. Unionizations, they faded out like a motherfucker, I think, before I even started in 95. Like, I felt every fucking union meeting that I went to, every fucking 4 years, every contract, that this was a fucking play. This was theatric. Like, this was all bullshit. Like, this did not make sense. Like, no, we're gonna tell that company or that fucking boss, he's gonna, little Chucky boy's gonna fucking figure out that he's gonna understand that we're gonna get $4 more an hour. Or you could have another fucking IAM pension, and you know that could help me out. And everybody's like, no, don't think that. Like, well, why not? Why not have fuck the $4? You know, and if we're gonna live to 50 and out, take it. Why the fuck not? You know what I mean? Like, because we thought the place would be around forever. You know, so they go back and forth. The company goes back and forth. There is no more unions, I think. I think unions died out.
Real unions died a long time ago. They became corporate coercion tools through the government.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to disagree with you on one element of me being in a union I think it was 2021, when I went to my second year. This dude did not give a fuck. I'm talking about my union rep. He went up to the boss, and the boss goes, we're not signing that. He goes, yeah, we'll just strike. It's night. Yeah, okay. Well, you guys do what you gotta do. Because my boss handed a gigantic book for him to read, and he goes, just look at this. There's bylaws in here, there's this, there's that, there's that. The dude fucking grabbed the book, my union rep. He grabbed the book and twisted it around, pushed it slowly back to him. He goes, we'll be back right in front of this place. And we're going to be striking. You're going to go under, and we're going to find another job. Fuck you.
Yeah.
What happened next? We all got $4. And we got our job. So there's some unions, and there's some union representatives that actually had fucking balls back in the day.
Well,
but those are long and gone.
Well, they were dwindling because of that. There's a whole fucking bunch of work that the people, like economists, like in Auburn and down in Loyola, Louisiana, or whatever the fuck, like Thomas DiLorenzo and some others talked about certain problems with unions. Well, they can either be good, or they can become weakened until they get changed into corporations with the government that are coercive corruption tools.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm saying. That's what, and that's how.
That's what happened. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's exactly what happened. That dude, like, you know, bitch slapped him basically, and he ended up you and Sue were talking about. He ended up going to California, and he just fucking found a cushy job over there. Who knows what the fuck he's doing now? But that was the last union guy that had some balls to do shit. You know, like, hey, let's make this happen. No. You guys are making, you know, 48 billion, and you guys are paying these guys that are doing basically 30% of the fucking, you know, work. Basically, they're moving shit around. They're doing this, and doing that, and you're gonna give them this. You're not gonna give them $2, $3, $4 an hour. What the fuck? You know. So, and he got it, and then he fucking jetted. He just got the fuck out, and that was the end of the unions. That for my personal experience, I should say.
Yeah, okay.
That was the end of the unions. It's like that was it. Because the next union rep that came in, he would be like, you don't understand him. He was a great union steward. You're not gonna fucking believe how much I'm gonna be in this shop. I'll be here every fucking weekend. Guess how many times we've seen him in 4 years? Once. The next guy? Once. The next guy? Once. I'm like, fuck you. I thank God for him for the insurance and everything like that, keeping me healthy, doing whatever I got to do, you know, making decent money, decent wage, you know, but working for the great company, Drake Leonard, and yeah, what the fuck? I mean, I'm more of a fan of fucking the company I'm fucking working for. Everybody goes out early. Union is who I work for. I go, do you know what the fuck you're talking about? There's some people that actually fucking talk like that. They're like, no, I don't work for Freightliner. I work for the mechanics union. I go, no, you don't. That's a representation. They're helping you. I go, and you know what? The unions are fucked now. They're non-existent. They almost suck ass. I mean, they're done. They're in cahoots. They fuck each other over. They manipulate everybody on every side. I hate unions.
A comment and two questions on modern unions, not necessarily the union rep you were dealing with way back when. First of all, if it is not to pad out the wallet of the union reps, then why on earth are union dues constantly going up if it's merely for legal representation? Two, similarly, if it's not to pad out the wallets of union reps, why do unions have to become mandatory? And my comment on modern unions, I honestly think that more businesses have to just Ronald Reagan union workers when unions become too powerful.
Yeah. And as I was finishing with the quote, I was saying about the guilds thing by the Hoppian, the guy that really started showing me Hoppa before anyone else, but I really didn't get into it until, you know, last year or two. But anyway.
I can't talk about it.
Yeah. He said, this might be a bit of a sophistry on my part, but the main argument is that unions are populated by workers demanding wages, working conditions from their employers is inherently flawed as they exist to influence private practice and homogenization across the society they inhabit, a form of organizing and lobbying and pressuring who they need, corporation or local authority. Simply, they're obsolete and would get in the way of private law society, as they could not possibly demand or force change onto a company without concerning them and being forced to use unethical means, as there would be no state, so there would be no lobby. There would be nobody lobbying to lobby.
No lobbies at all, right?
Yeah, that's the idea. We're talking high ANCAP scenario. This guy was telling me like Hoppa ANCAP scenario.
Well, how do you feel about that? But right now we're in 2021. When it comes to unions, how do you feel about unionization?
I'm very, very mixed.
I don't care. Just honest. That's
I'm very, very fucking mixed. Yeah.
Just 3 years ago, I was in my first semester of college when all of the professors basically striked, and it was like, well, what am I going to do until they come back? Because you don't know when they're going to come back, first and foremost. Second of all, you don't know what the heck they're going to do after they come back. Are they just going to assign everything that was meant to be for when you were, or for when they were on strike, or what? So I had all of my work done in the first week, and they were striking for 5 weeks. It was kind of disgusting, if I have to be honest.
Well, it always will be disgusting when it comes to corporations and trying to get along and trying to figure out what we have to do to make the company better, to make people coming fucking work every day.
But as I was trying to, I didn't get to quote all the way through though.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The solution he advocated, as I'm reading him, God, the tempered sword, by the way, I needed that. The solution is an inherently different type of organization. The guild, an organization not composed of workers and petitioning bosses and leaders and string pullers, or schemers, but a society composed of craftsmen of the field and researchers of the field, comprising of people from the top of the chain to the bottom, ranked on skill, not in knowledge and experience, not on business wealth. This system's function spreading not only knowledge, but also spreading regulation through the workers themselves, and the knowledge, like I'm sure you are aiming for. This is what he was talking to me about. Could I come up with an alternative to the syndicalists and the guild, the union stuff? And this is what he told me, and this is what he said, you know. And I said, I was wondering if the syndicalist elements, if not syndicalism itself, could be useful in an ANCAP society if they were voluntary and contractual as a means to make a guild group, make a middle ground between companies and people who make reasonable compromises, as well as a means to better guide labor resource to provide easier access to education in certain cases. And he said, yes, but guilds were the first syndicalists, essentially. Now the only problem is you got to protect them from. Well, I can't emphasize enough how you got. If you could forbid a federal government from making a corporation entity, a lot of your modern problems could go away. Just like you'd be surprised how much corporate law, opened my eyes to so much I used to believe. You know. Right. Back in my Bernie Bro days, I used to think corporatism and capitalism were, one led to the other, or corporate power was capitalist or some shit, and I didn't know. Boy, now my anti-corporate narrative strengthened, but with a factual backbone more than a leftist will ever have. Or the average groiper as well.
Right. Well, I don't know. I'm still 50-50 too. But I would say I'm 80-20 actually. I don't like unions anymore. I really don't. I don't trust them. I don't like anything about them. It used to be protection for your fucking work ethic. Like if you came in, showed up every day early, you worked your ass off, they asked you for some, hey, could you work another 2 hours? You did it, blah blah blah. But somebody comes in and shows up and you were the person that they all looked at going, holy shit, we need more of them. And another guy comes in and doubles you. And he goes, fuck you, we got to get rid of Wes.
Yeah.
Where's your protection?
If anything, the modern union is a twisted version of what it once was.
It is. It's a corporate corruption, is what it is. That's what the Mises Institute people said too, and I'm like, yeah. But they had the guys that wrote for him worded him like, damn. I wish I'd have thought of wording it that way. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's.
No, I know what you mean.
Sorry, go ahead.
In some industries, it is largely a requirement that you are part of a union in order to participate, and I should have the choice ultimately how I run my own employment.
Exactly. I think a union doesn't have to be a necessity to any company, to anybody that runs a fucking business. If you start up a business, it's up to you. But when it comes to unionization, it's ridiculous. It's a fucking rabbit hole. It's unbelievable how this shit works. Like, if you do end up, having some sort of union in your company that you build, make sure it's like I would call it a light union, like a I don't know, a dieted union. Like, yeah, don't worry about it. You're fine.
Just treat your employees well.
Yeah, golden rule.
Or, my only opinion nowadays is I think the mutual aid's the only union I would ever support at this point. The non-corporate mutual aid unions for healthcare, just like these medical guilds I read from this distributism book. That's probably the main ones I would support now.
I know. That's the only thing people join unions for, is because they're like, holy shit. Like, I'm going to get Blue Cross Blue Shield, the gold package, the silver package. Holy shit, I'll take that over anyway. Now I got a family.
Unions are kind of like a racket to shift money from one corporation into another corporation.
They are. They really are.
If you think about it, with the mandatory participation and the rising union dues, and thus you see no real wage growth. Yeah.
You want to know how much I was paying unions for 23 years?
Go ahead. I will almost certainly not be surprised.
I mean, take a guess. Per month.
Probably like a quarter of your paycheck.
It's 130.
130. Wow.
And guess how much representation I actually achieved, and guess how much support I had the whole time? Probably about 3%.
Yeah, not much. As I say, it's a way to suck money out of one corporation into another corporation, and ultimately to make someone's pants so heavy that eventually their underwear shows.
Or their micro penis if they're not careful. Yeah, I went there. That's right, motherfuckers, I went there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like,
teeny weeny panini, if you want to call it that too. People have asked me if I'm a Jew. I said no, I wish. That way they wouldn't try. They'd have to take the Jew card from me before they could call me anti-Semitic for criticizing certain groups.
Right.
No, I got a buddy named Brian. He's my brother. He's my brother. I call him my brother because I love him as a brother. They would take that card from him in a heartbeat if they heard half the shit he had to say about a lot of the shit going on in the world. Yeah, he's dead. He's half Jew. So a lot of people take that, and I was like, yeah, no, he would be. And I think of him when I say that. No, I wish I was. That's something they'd have to take from him before they call me that. No, they'd have to call me self-hating goyim. No, that's what they'd have to call me.
Self-hating goyim.
But now, what other ideas can we talk about with spreading liberty? Because this guild formula, going back to this for TPM, reading my guy Hyperion, the guy that introduced me to the name Hoppa, and Hoppa and Talbot were the ones that gave me the literature, actually, a lot of it, and I got to reading into it more. Yeah. But anyway, especially, shit, what I was saying was, besides,
Oh, that's kind of awkward.
Sorry, so we got humanitarian vehicle measures. Whoa! Blind's got 3 heads now, bitch! Oh, fuck me, this is bad. Finally got that motherfucker! Woo! No, no, no. Fucking got his ass.
So many fucking times. I went over to my grandparents' house. My grandfather would watch 3 students and really laugh his fucking ass off and ignore everything. Like, he just pissed his fucking pants. And every time he would be looking at them. I was like 6, 7. And then I started watching them. I'm like, this is what he's laughing about. This is one of these men that don't give a fuck about anything. He was in World War II. And he just does fuck. Like, he just wants to make himself laugh, go to sleep, and that's it. He don't fucking... He never gave a shit about anything. And for some reason, I liked that about him. I don't know what it was. I like a person that just goes, this is what I'm doing. I'm laughing my ass off. I already did my job. I did a lot of shit. I fucking worked in the factory for 48 years.
Yeah.
World War II, you know, and I want to laugh my ass off. I could barely walk.
Hey, I wanna get. I'm the old tripod. I want to take my Viagra and sit in the couch in the living room. I've worked. I've sat in the street for fucking ever.
Dude, I love that generation. I really do. I love that generation. I don't know what it is. It's just something.
That sounds like the generation before the baby boomers that were still alive, largely.
Yeah, it was.
That was my dad. That was my dad. Like, he was born in 38, right? He grew up during the Depression. And he just told me about his grandparents, great-grandma and great-grandpa Savage, Papa Al's parents. And they both lived past 100, around 100 or whatever. Yeah, they were high native too, but a lot of people's like, yeah, it's because we didn't have all the bullshit going on nowadays. In farming and agriculture.
No,
I'm like, you're right. But anyway, so what other ideas could we contribute to spreading liberty? Capitalist Pigu is a PMC, ANCAP, Hoppy and ANCAP, idealist. He's just full-blown Hoppy and ANCAP, but he's ANCAP idealist like I am, but he's willing to concede that to a small panarchist government, because even that can be useful if it's not statist, because, trying to give something a monopoly on all decision making is bound to be problematic. I don't care who the fuck you are. If you want to naysay that problem away, that's your arrogant ass, not fucking mine. And I will flatly say that, because I am fucking rude and abrasive. That's what he said.
The only way to get fucking points across. That's why I am trying my best to fucking bullshit guy. I never fucking try to get into arguments. Definitely fucking not. Like, I can't do this. I can't do this. Like, if you want to talk or, have a debate about something, I want to see this person and talk to them, look them in the eyes and talk about this. And ask, like, shitty fucking, like, fundamental questions. Are you really thinking that? Or are you saying that because you read a fucking book and you go store?
Yeah, it's one thing to parrot information, but it's another to think about what you can learn and apply their shit.
That's where I'm going.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's where I'm going with this, because I don't know, I kind of have this, like, knack of hearing somebody wrong, and I go, that's not a parrot, that's somebody that's a free thinker. Like, that's a free thinker, but I don't know what is it, education knowledge. It doesn't matter to me. He is somebody who is a person that's like on a box, and letting it go. He's just saying it how it is, what he thinks. That's why I kind of complain to those people. I'm kissing it. Trust me, I'm not kissing your ass. I'm just saying, like, I heard you talking a couple times. God damn it. That's a freaking good. We need more of these.
You know, it's funny, this guild model, the way they explained, the way this Hyperion, another Hyperion TPM talked about, I'm like, dude, I could imagine a permacultural, you know, if you could take the best of modern industrial farming and make it regenerative and apply permaculture, regenerative farming practices, you can make guilds designed to employ, rehire, you know, train and all that other shit. Basically do what a union's supposed to do, but properly. And have farmer guilds doing this shit. And I'm like, this would help local people get jobs so goddamn much. The worker unions that used to get people hired here are fucking gone. They all went north and south by 60 miles minimum. It pisses me off, you know. I'm from Louisiana, North Louisiana, so.
Yeah, well, most of the southern hemisphere of the United States, basically most of the southern states, they have their shit together right now. They really do. Or at least in my opinion, I agree.
In certain areas you're correct, in certain areas you're correct, but in others, depending on the demographics, not necessarily. But some areas they do, yeah.
I wanted to talk about it. I can't stand it at all. Like, everything's corrupt. And now there's pockets in southern Illinois that are like, this is perfect. It's beautiful. I don't want to fucking live here. I just don't.
All that you have to do is take a look at which color is the favorite of the governor. And I say that because if you take a look at all the states that have massive had massive riots over the past 365 days, Oregon, California, well, a little bit in California, Minnesota, Illinois, they all have blue governors, and they all have those same corrupt bureaucrats. It also just so happens that that political line lies on the north-south divider.
Many reasons, not just political. It's just I don't like living as much as the others. I guess that's one of those things. You're a little older and you're like, the bank, I'm not rich. I have money to get the fuck out of here. So I'm figuring West Virginia, South Carolina, Florida. Oklahoma. I'd fucking take Oklahoma. I don't give a fuck. Like, I just want to get out of here. Illinois is a fucking motherfucking state. Sorry.
We cuss more often than not. I've said cringier shit on my first podcast. We used to have we have a group. Don't take offense to this, folks. The servers, the different Latino, the first Latino descent members of the servers here on my server, Discord, it's a private server. Would you guys want to make a joke name of your little grouping? Because you guys are the only Hispanic mestizos here, right? I said, yeah. Well, I said, what do you want to call yourself? So it was Jess, it was Julian, and Digital Gulo or Digital Demon. They said, oh, what do we want to do? They said, let's see, what about Spick Avengers? I said, brilliant. Fucking perfect. That's the role they got now. We got now.
That's fucking
Yeah, it's gold. It's sad to say, but goddamn, I miss Jess. He was such a fucking mood lifter. Goddamn. I think he's gone from Discord. I almost cried that day when I found out. I'm like, no. But he and I used to say cringe age shit all the time for jokes back and forth, so don't have to worry about language.
Alright.
But so we got humanitarian, de-weaponized humanitarian purpose military grade vehicles. Using that to send infrastructure to places that need it within the country and in other parts of the world for the name of liberty and for charity. We have an approach to banking.
Banking that does not involve, remember, it can't involve sunflower seeds.
No, it cannot involve sunflower seeds or cum rags. Yeah, I throw that in there because I like pissing those particular groups off. You can't use cummy wummies as cash, folks. No one would buy them.
Alright, moving on. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. I better end this one, dude. I'm gonna grab a beer. I'm gonna sit back down and have a couple of beers.
Alright, I'm gonna get my wine. Give me a sec. I'll be right back, guys.
If a bank ever makes a currency that's backed by sunflower seeds, I'm just going to avoid it like the plague.
I have a bottle of Barefoot brand Pinot Noir. I've not put my earbuds in yet. Give me a minute. Get some notes in. The shit was like 11, 12 bucks. Not do it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Alright everybody, I'm back with my earbuds. I'm largely dicking around trying to trying to remember where I got that fucking third bottle. Oh shit. Nope! Damn it. Oh, that's good and dry. Yes. I can't do a sweet red wine. I just can't. Now, when it comes to semi-sweet wines, I can take a rose-colored wine or a white wine. Semi-sweet at most. But I can't really do a red wine very sweet at all. At most, it can be semi-dry. That's the sweetest I'll take it. Because I can't. Let's bring up a couple other policy ideas I think we could do potentially. I advocated getting rid of to get rid of capital gains and precious metal and property tax and make the property tax local, or if you're going to do that, and make it a subscription type thing to insurance, basically an insurance thing instead of an actual property tax. So you can actually get your home and your house and your family belongings and all that covered, insured, right? That's what I advocate there. Doing that. And Come here, bitch! Sorry, I'm back. I'm drinking Barefoot Pinot Noir, red wine.
Red wine drinker too.
Nice. I can't do. At most, the sweetest I can go is semi-dry. I cannot do a sweet or semi-sweet red wine.
I'm not a wine connoisseur. If it's red, I buy it.
I tried different ones. I've tried different ones throughout the years in my since starting my teenagers.
Yeah. There was a fucking wine that I swear to God I wish I remembered the fucking name of this thing. It had on the cork, on the very top of the cork, it had a rooster or something like that, and it was like that was like an official like red wine from some part of California. But fucking hell, like holy shit, it put you into a fucking like euphoric state. You didn't get drunk. You got like.
You got what? You basically got ready to be made a girl out of an alleyway, as my dad would put it.
Well, the chick that I was with, she's the one who turned me on to it. I go, what the fuck is up with this? Because try it, and she got so fucked up on 2 glasses. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm buying about 20 of these a day. Because we're fucking every night now. But yeah, red wine's great. Libertarian. When it comes to complete libertarianism, you were talking about like complete freedom of society.
I was talking about how to spread liberty and spread like libertarian ideals to local like political action to combat some of the fuckery that's been going on now. I mean, yeah.
I think that's impossible.
I don't really. I mean, either we do something or we just put our heads in the dirt and take it in the ass.
But the thing is, we've been doing that exact thing for 50 years now.
Take it in the ass?
Yep.
Wait, I mean, it's
the only question needed to be asked to answer that question of what the fuck we've been doing. What the fuck is the Libertarian Party?
Again, Libertarian Party is a joke. I mean, actually spreading these. The only way we're realistically going to get out of this, like Don the Pleb said this, I can't emphasize enough. Culture, politics is not downstream of culture. The Fabians proved this. We have to take these ideas we're exchanging right now to advocate them, to get them to empower the people at the local level.
See, the thing is, it's corrupt on so many fucking levels it doesn't end. It's very, very fucking possible.
Well, then what are you gonna? So what are we gonna do for the future? That's the question. We're just gonna have nothing. You might not have to live through it, but I'm gonna have to. And what are we gonna do?
I have nieces and nephews. I don't want to see this fucking country go to fucking shit in about 20 years. No fucking way.
Don't worry, it's going to go to shit in maybe about 10 if the four turnings theory is correct, but then yet again it's only the four turnings theory, not the four turnings fact.
Right. Well, people told me that when I was 13, and 15, and 18, and 25, and 18, and 28, and 48. So it's like, alright, it will end. I know this. Now, with shit's going on, the temperature, the fucking riots, the ridiculousness, the fucking politicians that are fucking corrupt up the ass, the ridiculous fucking elections, everything is fucked. And now I see it happening, so I give it 15 or 20. You know, I'm trying to be optimistic. as
Suit
for
yourself.
Wes, as for what Wes is saying, he says, "What the fuck should we do?" I don't know.
Well, this is what we're.
Try everything.
This is what I'm advocating. These are ideas.
Fucking ass to do things.
This, yeah, it's why I'm advocating exchanging ideas, because we have to do something to. What I'm advocating is to spread liberty best we can to levy off the damage that's coming. That's what this is about.
Well, if you look at the US dollar, the faith in the US dollar has already gone to shit, especially considering how much more they're printing of it. So why not just make your own currency?
Well, we have local level laws that allow that. It just cannot, quote unquote, compete with the Federal Reserve, if you get my drift.
That Federal Reserve shit is ridiculous. I mean, even on all three of us numbers.
Yep.
It's not backed up by any.
Well, the Orthodox, there's a couple of Orthodox Christian priests that have accurately stated this and have their own reasons, and they call it the mark of the beast.
Well, it is.
No shit. But
okay, right.
But it's also that also means it's been toppled down and time and time again, even before Christ the man came along. Right. So,
but I have one question about this, because I think the same way. What do you think the reasoning behind every other country still looks at the U.S. dollar, even though it's fucking phony as shit? They still look at that as the world, like the world currency. That's the one we look up to. Blah blah blah. I mean, for the
world reserve, even though
I
but I'm saying, like, why does everybody like worship this stuff?
Well, I'd argue the U.S. dollar is not backed by nothing. It's instead backed by the threat of the U.S. Army.
And even that's fucking becoming a joke.
And if you look at all the countries that have tried defying the U.S. in enforcing OPEC and going against OPEC, they all literally have had sanctions placed upon them and have essentially been ostracized from the global market. Gaddafi being the most recent big example of that.
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing I was going to mention about Capitalist Pig. He sent me these messages. This could be here. I want to tell you. He's a PMC and he watches this shit and he reads and looks into trends and stuff. It's part of his job. This is what he told me. So the Boog, B-O-O-G. It's not what everyone thinks it is. The reasons for this are simple. The original Civil War, was fighting on state lines and organized cultural values. The modern equivalent now, is way more messy. There are multiple factions and multiple cultural values and factions within factions, so on and so forth. This is accelerated by an internet that makes it access to information nearly instant and easy and decentralized, way more so. And a social situation that makes it necessary the formation necessary the formation of echo chambers to avoid the ban hammer. The previous state of the BOOG had an informational campaign with all sides. So this, and I replied, so this leads to everyone in the different states wanting to split off from each other more and more. This, among many other factors, makes it harder for governments to control the masses in the long term, even though they try and desperately and screech. He said, correct. I said, please continue. He said, the first wave was propaganda. All sides put out favorable information on their cultural and their political worldviews. And in most cases, ignoring the areas where they fall short. The second phase was the smear stage, putting out propaganda against the factions that they hated on the most. This stage, sub-factions got into counter-propaganda and smear campaigns against each other, as well as many original perceived enemy factions. This causes more factions to form and arise. Events are easily used to outline this are Operation Blueism, ANCAP Civil War, Round 1 Esso and Filthy vs. Tappan, and then Esso and Filthy vs. Hoppians. Also, in this case, Chaos Agents from either benefit from the fall of the faction's exploit, or to infiltrate and create chaos from within. Don't forget to mention Pedogate. I listed certain individuals that are absolute chaos agents. I won't name here. He said yes. And he talked about DAPS for a little bit. I said some of the things in reply to that. He said overall, stage 2, real world manifestation. Activists exploit real world events to take real world actions. Examples of the harmless: Occupy Wall Street, agorist ventures, sit-ins, mass protests that are actually peaceful, and I said in the alternative infrastructures and localism that's on the rise and need to come faster. He said, yeah, coordination, peaceful but malicious, GME short squeeze, AMC short squeeze, all the Wall Street bets campaigns, the Wall Street stonks.
This can all be summed up quite simply by what Tim Pool says all the time on his IRL channel. This is already civil war. 4th and 5th generational warfare, where it's all about the information game, not about lives.
This is information war. This is what I'm bringing. This is why I'm doing this. That's why I'm trying to promote liberty and what it actually means to do what you want without fucking with each other. How do you want to do this on a basis? Well, I don't know. Should you be allowed to have this property? Should you be allowed to give this to your family if something happens to you? Yes. Okay. Don't fuck with it.
Right.
This is why I'm doing this. Do we have an informational warfare? I'm participating in a rebellion faction. I'm pushing ideas. I'm trying to get ideas exchanged to promote our causes for the better, so we can.
That is key when it comes to fixing everything that needs to be fixed here. We have to exchange information. We have to actually fucking understand each other and see like where this is going if this keeps going. If we give money to this organization or that. The one thing I've definitely fucking noticed in the past like 2 years, 3 years is the fact that there's organizations, there's collaborations, there's strange, BLM, and if all these fuckers are getting, they're not getting like $50 here and then it's unbelievable, and it's dividing the fucking country. It's going on its way. I just mentioned the ones that everybody knows. I'm talking about there's about another 100, maybe 150 that are getting almost close to 1 million, 2 million, like, and they're all like, we want our country back, and they're not even from here. I'm not saying like I'm from here. Well, I was born here, so, but they're like, no, this was our country. Look at that. You're kind of not from here.
I think, well, I'm pretty sure that there were once Craigslist ads linked back to George Soros, saying we're going to pay, saying we're going to pay $22 an hour for protesting.
Yeah,
let's say Soros completely is behind all of this.
He's behind a chunk of it, and Fox News shut up a man that was outright saying it on their channel.
Oh yeah, they cut him off. I remember that.
Yeah, some of this shit's been funded by Soros. Some of it, I can't say all of it, but with that,
I would say close to 50%.
Easily, yeah, easily. Here I go, guys. The 5th fucking dungeon. Fucking say some prayers, 'cause I'm gonna fucking need them.
Oh, if I see him, if I see Soros, just like,
Don't
just
say
like,
it. Don't say it on the podcast. But you could DM me what you'd want to do, and I will probably agree.
Shit. No, I was gonna shake his hand. That's all I was gonna say.
I wouldn't, obviously.
I was kidding.
It's hard for
God
me.
damn, dude. You guys are fucking funny, man.
But this is why I'm trying to get this out there, because information. These are ideas that take elements of different people's sides, but also that can empower the domestic people, the local people. We got local movements catching and fighting of shit. Look, Arizona's got an audit, and they've already revealed voter FR AUD out the ass, and now they're reacting. Neocons, thank God, are getting pushed out of the goddamn GOP. Look, Texas is pushing for secession papers already.
Don't worry about saying those two words as is. It's just if you combine those two words with a couple of other words implying that someone stole an election, then YouTube will ax you.
Yeah,
just saying that is not actionable according to YouTube rules, as far as I know.
You can't ever tell. You got to be extra cautious, because now they could just nay your ass if they don't find you profitable for their interests. For some fucking how.
Well, that's understandable, but the thing is, they could have axed you for any arbitrary reason before that changed anyway. So really, it didn't.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. But anyways, continuing what he was saying. Stage 3 is the insurgent stage. Capital Spig told me in phone messages. Using the same justifications for the manifestation stage, more violent praxis can be used. Fire, bombing, smashing, looting, shooting, violent rioting.
Your fourth yawn, dude.
I know.
That fucking red wine, it does it to you.
Every fucking time, too.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's been almost 2 hours anyway, so.
Yeah. And so on and so forth. This stage is full of dangers. There is a fork in the road. Route 1, the population begs for safety, gives up what little freedoms they have to the power structure, which develops a more authoritarian praxis, and and that's gonna the long term it's gonna go down. Autocratic systems go down eventually, no matter what you do. Autocratic systems that are massive are just gonna fall. Mandate to heaven's a motherfucker, they say.
I gotta take a minute to this.
All right.
But what are your thoughts on crypto?
I think it's got some technical challenges, but it could subvert the banking system as of current. It just requires FDIC certified people to banks and local communes to kind of say go have some ovaries and balls and do some backdoor services and honor systems to keep criminals out, or would-be criminals out.
My main issue with it is that whatever you do on it is traceable. Sure, no one may know what your wallet is, and therefore cannot necessarily link it back to you, but the entire history is there for all to see, and in the case that you are linked with your public key, you will be able to just have your entire transaction history found.
Well, that's another thing too. You gotta be anonymous. You can make completely anonymous crypto wallets to do that, so the transaction history won't come back to you. And the other backdoor services, they have to be able to provide shipping from place to place, as long as it goes within their honored system term of service. If it's not, you're going to be exposed. That kind of shit. Yeah, it's bending the rules. It's a gray market, yes. But it's a hell of a lot better than the system they got now. And you can make guilds pull this off under the table, too.
Yeah, that's true. The thing is, like,
financial
when it came
guilds,
to
I mean.
crypto, right. When it came to crypto and when even Bitcoin was, I think it was at 9,500, even the stock, it was something I dumped a shit ton of money. It moved nowhere. It didn't do anything. I pulled out overall in Hyperion, and then that went up, and then I started to panic a little bit, and because I see that's more shit about it, I'm selling it now. Fuck it, already made profit. I already made profit. So, but the thing is, I had a lot of fucking Bitcoin, and it went up to 60, and I'm still kicking myself for that. I'm still kicking myself for that. The fact that I fucking couldn't wait up. Sorry, sold the shit. I sold it, and I'm like, oh my god! Like, you wouldn't believe. It would have been a nice change. And now it's back to, I don't know what Bitcoin's at now. Their stock, at least, I think it's at 25 or 35. But either way, I don't see crypto lasting. Yeah, I don't have any faith in it.
Well, the thing is, they have precious metal-backed crypto that's good. It's that you can back the ledgers up with gold and so on and so forth, and exchange them directly for gold. What you want to do, I'm trying to remember the name of the coins, but I was sent some before DMs of somebody whose account's gone. They got it back, but I blocked the motherfucker. I think he pretended to be a fascist for a while and to trick retards to his favor. And Techno knows who I'm talking about too. I called him in. Is this say his name? First name? It's his name. Your old name begins with a B and an I, if you know what I'm talking about. And he's Brit.
Okay.
I think you don't get it, do you?
I think I may have it, but then I'm still not sure. Anyways, Bitcoin right now, 33,000 US dollars, 42,000 Canadian dollars.
That's the whole Bitcoin. That's the whole coin.
Yes.
And what's fucked up is most people will never get a whole coin because 85% of the Bitcoin's entire coin signatures were monopolized by 1,000 bank accounts. I'm like, that's a joke already. Pull the fuck out. Do something else.
There were a lot of people that also said that China already owns a lot of Bitcoin. They're not. They have ways to not let you know. Obviously, the anonymity of crypto farms.
It's not really that crypto is the point, is what Techno was saying, and I agree.
Right, but I'm hearing China's buying the shit out of it. They're buying the shit out of the fucking property here, and they're sitting on it. Even the ones that are going down, they're buying it just to and walk away, not living in it. They're waiting for this whole goddamn garbage to go away, and they're gonna. This is the way. This is the war. I'm not saying this is what I feel, but I've read a couple of articles talking about people. They said, no, they're not going to do it that way. They're going to fucking invade this way. They're going to infiltrate financially everything. They're going to buy up property, Bitcoin. They're going to own half the stock market.
Do you know how hard it is to pull that off without collapsing yourself?
They already have.
The Chinese were for the longest time, like a couple of years, having the largest mining operations going on there.
Yeah.
It has only been recently that things have started shifting back to the States.
So, yeah,
but
again.
anyways,
like I said, it's something that kept coming out when I read. I thought, oh, that could be.
Anyways, the one coin that I do believe has the highest probability of becoming an actual currency is Litecoin, because first of all, there's no limit to block size. Second of all, the blocks only are around every 2.5 minutes instead of only every 10 minutes. So
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I had a shit ton of trouble,
Right now at 163.67 US dollars, if you want to feel bad about it.
Yeah, I just want to hear other people's.
I mean, they could
All over the map. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, what I'm getting at is China could keep trying to do this shit, but look at it this way. What they're trying to do is they're trying to shift to a one dictator autocratic system, and with the scale that they're trying to do, dude. Do you know how bad you know how bad of a fucking capital uprising expense it's gonna be? It's gonna eat itself at that with just Borsodi's law alone. You know another thing central planners that try to do these operations for long term have a problem with? Knowledge and calculation problems. Bad. And the bigger and the more centralized you get, the more these three things skyrocket on their asses. They keep trying, but... and I'm not saying that to be optimist. It's not going to be pretty when it goes down. For the poor Chinese that were subject to the shit.
Well, they have a whole host of problems that are worse than just their government. They have a water shortage, like a potable water shortage. Like, sure, they have plenty of water, but it's all polluted to shit. They have...
Everything is a disaster over there, and they don't report. They don't like anybody looking into them. That's how they are.
And
they don't like anybody looking into their shit, so they're gonna obviously,
Also the fucking Ponzi schemes they're doing. The Ponzi schemes they've been doing with cryptos and metals also been causing them to backfire on them and trying to uncensor to really expose that shit bad.
And also the vast majority of their real estate purchases are second and third homes, not even first homes.
No. Exactly. That's pretty much everywhere around the globe where they can get land at. But that, again, that's not good. Plus, another interesting thing, too, every time a grand solar minimum comes around, they die down a big time. Like, they collapse. Hard. Like, them fuckers collapse hard.
But yeah, it has been 2 hours. I'm gonna duck now.
Okay, anyone else want to spread ideas about how to spread liberty while we can now to offset the damage that will be coming? Besides what we're advocating here for local political action and stuff too. And by the way, please support Sean Baker's looking into JBS and other corporate meat packers for possible collusion. They're definitely fucking over the domestic farmer. Please go look into it. Help them support it. There's some domestic, like local bipartisan, like not federal people, not federal fucks, but local political bodies are trying to help support Sean Baker into looking into this. Please go check that video out too. Also, the farming guilds, if we do that, we can become competitive against big corporates by decentralizing the feedlot system and making it more efficient. This plays quite... Huh?
Let's hope it works.
I got the math. I got the math for the convention, for the modelings and everything. The evidence to my as the proof of the pudding of what I'm piecing together. It's just we need local political action, and we need more people knowing about this. It's everybody's kept in the dark on fucking purpose.
Yeah. Just like that. I really feel that. Like, keep them busy, keep them informed about what's going on, but give them enough information to definitely keep fucking people busy so they can, you know, not get too active, so they can pull this shit off.
There was a dude that quit his job and became a farmer back in the 2010s and shit, and he was fucking making a killing now. Depending where you're at, you can make the same thing for yourself. You can outbuy the fucking Chinese psyops and other country psyops over here. You can do it.
Right.
And I'll link to that too, actually. That's just on the farming side. If you're not a farmer, there are things like, look, I'm getting into homemade soda craft. And low carb soda is gonna be a big thing. Like Zevia's already banking on it. Zevia had a good, to me, it was an okay tasting cream soda. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just getting money and rupees and shit right now before I go to the 5th dungeon, and I'm really poking around because I hate this fucking thing. I'm probably gonna have 2 or 3 episodes trying to go around this fucking maze. So I think we could turn this around if people know more.
I think we can. Yeah. It's two things. Knowing things that are actually happening and people that don't fucking react.
Why do you think I'm doing this now?
That's what I'm saying.
And Julian's trying to go into domestic and national security type shit for that infrastructure. I'm like, dude, that would be helpful in the cause, big time. And you could de-weaponize military vehicles and use them for humanitarian purposes across the board for anything for that, from humanitarian and charity causes. Wink, wink. Also, I'm gonna cut this off for that now. I got all 4 bottles in the game. I got a fairy. I got 3 blue potions. I'm gonna get so blued out. I'm gonna have a blurple dick like a Smurf. Oh.
All right. You take it easy, man.
You too, Neil.
Take care of yourself.
So guys, I want you to check out Harry Sopanos, the recent stream. I'm going to link it, and the one I was on as well. I'm also going to link find a gentleman by the name of Dr. Bartholomew Kay. Spent 25 years as a senior lecturer, as science paper contributor, academic, and teaching and understanding in patho-physiology, cardiovascular pathophysiology, and lung pathophysiology, and nutrition. When it comes to nutrition, he is the real deal. I want you to check out another company, a guy that runs a company by the name of Christian Bates. He sells an amazing set of product elixirs. I'm actually about to run out of this one, Everlasting Youth. I take it every so often. Another one is Hyperion Herbs by Mr. Brandon Gilbert. I want you to check their channels out as well. If you want to know more about distributist ideas in a libertarian and even ANCAP framework, if we're going to go all the way to that particular scenario, just to gouge it, I will be making a video about my response to the Groypers in America First. You're going to be surprised, the origins of America First. It was actually a group supposedly founded by a bunch of patriots, but was found out later, towards the end, that during the Second World War, the last of it, the people that they thought were going to be the people that thought they were working with, patriots, found out they were working with fascists and communists, and the whole thing was psyop to try to intervene in nutsucks, Nazis, commies, and fascist trash, all the way in there. Probably some Zionists too, but they'll never admit that. I wouldn't be surprised, fuckers. They were all in there trying to keep the government from intervening in the war. That was part of the intervention delay. It was part of it. That wasn't all. It was a part of it. So yeah, that shit's been shit's crazy, but it's that's the origins of America First. And the attempted revival of that platform by Pat Buchanan was quite something else, but I think he's misguided. But I appreciate that Hoppe and Rothbard tried to warn Buchanan back in the day, where the path he was going was not good, and to try to stop him. Before his mouth and his ego ran away with his ass too far. I appreciate them trying to do that for the guy, but he had some to say he had problems politically and in aspirations is being a sweetheart. Is being a sweetheart about it. But whatever. That's just a beginning of many things to expose. Actually, a guy by the name of Antisocial Contract went and made a video called, Nick's Red Board. He's responding to Nick Fuentes and called out the commie shit he was spewing from the start. He's not really that right wing. Shh. He's a shill a bit. Shh. Yikes, but it's the truth, it's the truth, it's the truth. Hate to say it. No, I don't hate to say it. I didn't like the motherfucker. He can go fuck himself with a billy club. Or get fucked with a billy club. I don't care. He's a piece of shit. Anyway. And his whole cult is what it is. There's so much bullshit. It's just as cringe to me as Kalinsky and Pac-Man's little cult following. Literal cult following. Or Spheria's cringe rautistic following. There's so many... you can make yourself a cult personality. You know what I'm saying? You can make yourself one so easily if you tried. To finish what Capitalist Pig said, before the other parts of the combo were expanded upon with that, there was also an optional phase that occurred between the manifestation and insurgent stages. This is the infiltration stage, where ideologues install themselves in state entities. This both helps those in the insurgent stage, but also weakens the agencies and entities they integrate with. As religious adherence to an ideology is an exploitable pattern, enemy factions can use both gaining sympathy for their side as well as gaining entry into the system, agency, or entity. re-cementing stage happen as well. That's where factions that break off from factions reject outside information or discount it, assuming people for countering or questioning is a conspiracy against the movement thought leader. In this stage, echo chambers. The echo chambers of facts become more intense. Loyalty is valued over common sense and objective fact. Depending on the objectives of the said factions, the heightened paranoia could make people dangerous, displace into this insurgent stage quite strongly. But it can also make your group look like idiots, philosophers, ultimately toothless, more dangerous to themselves and to others. And due to loyalty, some members may have questionable ideologies that could be used in propaganda against the group, weakening its ability to reach a wider audience. I would argue, and honestly, he quoted Michael Malice after explaining these things about the BOOG in our lifetime. I would argue anarchism should be viewed more as a relationship than a destination to avoid. Michael Malice was quite accurate in that way of wording it. This kind of violent or stupid outcome. You know, man, he has a way with words. Yes. Yes, you can use. It would be good if we had communal, local political action to establish institutions that are doing these very things within our what little legal systems we have in the red states. And by the way, also check out Dr. Steve Turley. Also check out some other links and channels I'm going to link you to, besides the ones I mentioned and whatnot. I also want you to check out an author. I've got his website named by the name of Bill Kaufman. Brilliant guy. I recently stumbled upon him and I found a lot of kindred spirit with the gentleman in a lot of ways. Now, I must go. I appreciate you guys listening to this and listening to some idea exchanges. I want to continue these idea exchanges with more people, though, if I can. This was a very decent night. Take care.